So this video is basically about how to remember the unit circle. So let's build it together. So I will first start by finding using the degrees for the degrees, and yeah, let's start off by finding the degrees first. So here you start with 0 degree. So you use this part for, so I'll use the dotted lines for degrees, and then radian will be represented on the straight lines, and the angle, the values will be in here, the coordinate will be in here. So let's start with the angle. So we always start at 0 degrees, and then we have, for me to, it's easy to go from 0. Here I have 90 degrees because it's more intuitive. 90 degrees is and then 180 degrees here, easy to remember. 180 degrees, 270 degrees, and normally 360 degree. I don't know, yeah, it seems like, yeah, they have 360 degrees in here. Yeah, this 360. And now every angle in between is so here I have 30 degrees, so first 30 degrees, and every angle in between is increasing by 15. So so from here to here I have 30 degree, there's a 30-degree gap. From here to here, 30-degree gap, and from here to here, 30-degree gap. But anything in between is increasing by 15 degrees. So 13 degrees plus 15 degrees, so 13 plus 15 is 45 degrees. 45 plus 15 is 60 degrees. So it's increasing by 15 degrees. So anything in between, so in between plus 15 degrees, and anything out here, not so here and here, is increasing by 30 degrees. So here also is increasing by 30 degrees. So 90 plus 30 degree, 9 plus 3 is 12. Yeah, 90 degrees plus the, yeah, it's 12. So 90 plus 30 degree will give you 120 degree. So you want 120 degrees in here, and like I said, anything in between is increasing by 15 degrees. So 135 degrees, 135 degrees, 135 degrees, and 150 degrees in here. From here to here plus 30 degree, so 30 degree you get 210, and anything in between is increasing by 15 degrees. So 15 degrees, so 225 plus 15, you get again 240 degrees, and plus 30 degree you get 270. So 270 plus 30 degree you get 300 degree, and then everything in between is increasing by 15, 3, 30. So yeah, so in between those lines in here are the line in between. Let me put that in red. These are the line in between here, 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 here. Those are increasing by 15 degrees, and everything else is increasing by 30 degrees. So these are the angles. So once you're done with the angle, for the degrees, for the radian, so I have to write things in radian now. So in radian I start with 0 radian. I know that here I have pi over 2, which is 90 degrees. Here I have pi. Here I have 3 pi over 2, and normally 2 pi in here. Now how do I remember? So what I do, I memorize the other values that are in between. So I memorize pi over 6. Pi over 6 is here, is pi over 6. Here 45 degrees is basically pi over 4. Here I have 60 degrees, which is pi over 3. I memorize this one, 2 pi over 3, and 3 pi over 4, 5 pi over 6. So I memorize those. That's all I need to memorize, and based on those I can find the others. So how do I find the others? So there is a pattern in the graph So the angle that is in here, this one in here, is related. So look at this line. This line goes here and it comes here, right? So to find the angle that is here, what you do, what's the coefficient of this one? Pi. So pi divided by 3, its coefficient. So you have pi divided by 3, right? The coefficient here is 1, right? But we don't write 1. We just write the pi. The coefficient is 1. So what you do, to find the numerator of the value that is here, you take 4. You keep the same denominator, so it's divided by 3, right? You write pi, and to find the numerator, you do 3 plus 1, and you get 4, like that. So that's how you find. That's how I do to find the values. So let me do for the next one. This one in here, 4 and 5. I copy 4 pi divided by 4. Pi divided by 4. The coefficient. How do I find the value that is here? I take 4 plus 1, because the coefficient in here is 1. So if you have 4 divided by pi divided by 4, the coefficient is 4. So you take the denominator plus the coefficient that we don't see. So 4 plus 1 is 5. So you have 5 pi divided by 4. And then the value that is here, pi over 6. So you take pi, you copy it, pi over 6. And then pi over 6, denominator is 6, numerator has a coefficient of 1. So 6 plus 1 is 7. So you have 7 pi over 6. Now how do I find the other? Same procedure. I have this one, 2 pi divided by 3. I follow the line and it goes all the way in here. So you have 2 pi divided by 3. So I copied pi divided by 3, and then I need to figure out what's the coefficient. So 3 plus 2 is 5, right? So the coefficient will be 5. The numerator value will be 5. So 5 pi divided by 3. I look at this number in here, 3 pi divided by 4. 3 pi divided by 4. I'm following the lines, and I get here. So I copy it's pi and its denominator, so pi and its denominator, which is 4. And then what I do, I add the numerator and the denominator. So 3 plus 4 is 7 here. And then finally this one in here, I look at its value in here. I copy its numerator and its denominator, and I add the numerator and its denominator. For 5 plus 6 is 11. So that's how I find the values for the different values. Now to finish, I have to figure out the values for the angle. So what I do, I memorize. The only thing that I memorize are these values in here. I know that this one represents cosine of the angle, and this one represents the sine of an angle. So the x-axis will represent the cosine, and the y-axis will represent the sine of an angle. So cosine of 0 degrees. So what I'm doing is finding cosine of 0 degree. If you're unsure, use your calculator. You can do cosine of 0 degree, you get 1, and sine of 0 degree, you get 0. So 1 here, 0, right? And here for the value that are here, these are the value that I only memorize. Cosine of pi over 6 will give me square root of 3 divided by 2 here, and here sine is 1/2. Cosine of pi over 4 is square root of 2 divided by 2, and the sine is square root of 2 divided by 2. Cosine is 1/2 here, square root of 3 divided by 2 here. And here 90 degree, it gives me what, 0 and 1. So that's all I need to memorize. Now the values that are here on the second quadrant, all the cosine values are negative. So that means I have to copy the same values that are here in here, and I change the sign of the cosine and make the sign of these values, I make them negative. I copy them exactly the same and I change the sign. That's it. So I'm copying this one in here. So this one is 1/2 square root of 3 divided by 2. Copy these values in here. Square root of 2 divided by 2. Copy this value in here. Square root of 3 divided by 2, 1/2. copy this value in here, 0 1 0, and then all I have to do is to change the sign. So where it was positive on that side, now it becomes negative, 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 negative. That's it. Now for these values in here, all I have to do is to copy the values that are here in here, the same value. So the 1/2 that is here, so I follow the line. So this value here comes here, this value here comes here, and this value here comes here. So I'm copying this one, bringing it here. So I copy it 1/2, square root of 3 divided by 2. Copy this one here, square root of 2 divided by 2, square root of 2 divided by 2. Copy this one in here, square root of 3 divided by 2, 1/2. And on the second, this is the third quadrant. On the third quadrant, the sine and the cosine are both negative, so all I have to do is to make everything negative, 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 negative. And this value here, I forgot to put them. I copy the same thing and I make them negative, but you can make 0 negative. So 0 is like a neutral value. Since everything here is negative, you make this one negative. That's it. And finally, this one in here, you take this value here, you project this one here, this one here. So let me do it. I take this value that is here, I copy the value without the sign, of course. I just copy. So I have 1/2 square root of 3 divided by 2. This one without the sign, without the negative sign, I mean. And then this one I bring it in here, 1/2. Now here in the fourth quadrant, what we basically have is here in the fourth quadrant, the cosine is positive, but the sign is always negative. So you make the only thing that you make negative are the y values. So here, here, and here. That's it. So that's what I do to remember them. I only memorize this portion, and based on this portion, I can figure out the others. So I make these values. I copy the same values. I make them negative. I copy the value here, here, and here. I make everything here negative, and I copy the same values in here, and I make the y values negative, and that's how I operate. So yeah, that's how I do it. If you have if you are interested, because some of you ask me how I remember, what I do to remember the trig functions, those values. So that's what I do. So good luck.